was in all points tempted, like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need, to help in time of need. And sing it together. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted, like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need, to help in time of need. Let's just do it one more time. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted, like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need, to help in time of need. All right. I think we have time for one more song. So let's sing a song that we all know. Who has a favorite? Greg. Matthew 26?
Matthew 24.
24. And this gospel? Okay. Matthew 24. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on
every nation, every kindred, tongue, and people, for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
Thank you for singing.
Good morning. Do you know what this weekend is? College Days, that's right. We're looking forward to College Days and to having guests on our campus. It's always a special time. And I know I guess I haven't actually heard a count coming, but there will be a number of extra families as well as potential college students. So we will be a little snug, perhaps, but that's okay. It's a good opportunity to acquaint potential students with what Ouachita Hills College is all about. This morning, the PSAT is being given right after assembly, so I just want to remind you to be quiet in the building all morning and to be quiet as you're passing the outside end of the building, so we don't want to be distracted at all, or distracting at all, I should say. Hasn't the weather been nice for October? It's been very pleasant. It's going to start getting cooler late, I think tomorrow actually. Yes, for some of you, yes. I thank God that He is blessing us with good weather and that things are happening around campus. The warehouse building is proceeding. If you haven't been by there recently, the walls are, not the outer walls, but the inner walls are almost up. And insulation's going to be happening, and the siding up, and it's really moving quite well along. And actually, we think in a few weeks, the schedule is in flux. But I think in a few weeks, maybe by next month, we will actually start erecting a couple of homes. So if all goes well, so you can keep that in your prayers, because we were going to do it in October, then it switched to December. You know, December weather is pretty unpredictable for erecting a house. And so now it's kind of switching back. Oh, and the other good news is that coming very soon, I think within the next week or two, will be the sidewalks. Yes. So I am so thankful for that. It will impact college and academy students. So that's going to be really nice. The college students up on the hill can walk. We'll have a sidewalk coming from the little bridge beside the boys' dorm, all the way up to the cafeteria. There'll be a sidewalk going across to the boys' dorm. And also coming down the hill over there for college students, where you have a little path, that's going to have a sidewalk too. And from the ladies' dorm to the road. So, I mean, we are going to feel like we're uptown. I don't want to be uptown. I like country living, but sidewalks, yes. So we thank God for the improvements on the way and the way He is providing for manpower and means to do all of that. Let's kneel as we pray. Father, this morning we are grateful to be your children, and it's just so nice when we see how many ways you are working for us and providing for us. And Lord, we're grateful to be your children even when we can't see those things, but it's especially pleasant right now. We thank you for your love, for your watch care, for your provision. Most of all, we thank you for the gift of your Spirit. How much we need your Spirit to be on our campus and our dorms, living within us, Lord. Help us to be Spirit-filled people. This morning I want to ask that you will bless with the gift of your Spirit, especially during this assembly, that you'll speak through Mrs. Nieves, and that you will teach us lessons that we need to learn to be able to live the lives that you want us to live as your people. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Good morning, y'all. Okay. We're good. All right. So, do y'all know who goes to health lectures? Old people. People in their 50s, people in their 60s, people who've been diagnosed with some kind of illness they want to get rid of, or at least they want to get rid of the pills. They don't want to have to take those. So they go, well, maybe I should give this health thing a try. There are some younger people who go to health lectures, people in their 30s. But either they're just naturally the crunchy granola types, or, they're starting to have health problems, or they know someone who is. You don't really see many people in their teens or in their 20s who go to health seminars. There are a few because veganism is becoming a popular thing, but usually young people who are drawn to veganism do it because they want to live more compassionately, they want to live gently on the planet, they want to care for the animals. They usually don't do it much for health reasons. Some of them don't do it for health reasons at all, as evidenced by the Oreos and potato chips vegan diet. So it's noble to eat vegan. You can do it for altruistic reasons. But do you know why health lectures aren't popular among young people? It's because y'all look so good and feel so great. That's why young people just aren't interested much in health. The illness hasn't started showing up yet for you. So you're just not very motivated, and that's why I'm thinking I've got a tough gig here. You see, my job is to talk to you about a balanced diet. And I think that that's going to sound dull to you. I could give you a bunch of statistics. We could, sit here and flip through slides on how heart disease is the worldwide #1 killer. I could tell you about how type 2 diabetes is becoming an epidemic, even among children here in the United States. I could explain overweight and obesity is on trend worldwide. It's bringing with it boatloads of illnesses for young people and old people. That chronic diseases that we are eating ourselves into have overtaken infectious diseases and are the main health concern everywhere. But as long as you personally feel great, chances are your eyes are just kind of going to glaze over and I'm going to be wasting my time up here. So instead, I decided, let's talk about protein. Because everybody wants to hear about protein these days, right? Okay? What do we need protein for? Muscles, absolutely. Yes, okay. So, we all want to be healthy. And these days, to look healthy, that means to look slightly muscular. I mean, doesn't everybody want forearms or want arms like Michelle Obama? I mean, really, she's known for this. Yeah. So what are we going to have to do to look like that? What are we going to have to do to look a little muscular? Yeah, we're going to have to work out. And if we're going to work out, we might as well make it work, right? So we'd better have protein, exactly. If I am putting in the time, I better be putting in the protein At least that's what everybody says, right? Absolutely. So here's the thing. If we want to kind of bulk up a little bit and get some muscle, we need protein. You know people who are supplementing with protein, right? You know people who do this? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So what about if you want to lose weight, what should you do? What are the most popular diets out there? The Atkins diet, the South Beach diet. Well, Atkins, South Beach, paleo diet, these are the most popular diets out there. And what they tell you is that if you want to lose weight, you need to eat high protein, low carbs. That is the ticket. You know anyone who's done it? Yeah, I know someone who's done it, lost weight, didn't keep it off, which is pretty typical. But all right, so here's the thing. If you want to get bigger, you need to eat protein. And if you want to get smaller, you need to eat protein. Does this make a lot of sense? Okay. That's the message we're getting from modern culture. And it's pretty confusing then. But it's not just protein we're confused about. Look at what happened to fat. In our great-grandparents' time, everybody was eating lard and then, and animal fats, and heard that was bad. So what was introduced next, do you know? Crisco. That was better. So everybody moved to Crisco. And then, no, that was bad. We need unsaturated fat. And everybody's switching over to margarines. And then everything needed to be low fat. And you guys probably definitely remember low fat. And everybody, your mom, any of you have moms who are health nuts? Yeah, okay, I know. So, now we're buying a low-fat salad dressing and low-fat mayonnaise and low-fat crackers. And, well, as a nation, we were just getting bigger and bigger, and low-fat wasn't working. What we need is healthy fats, right? That's what we need now, natural fats, healthy fats. And there are even people now who are going back to promoting the benefits of animal fat. We've come around full circle. Do you think we know what we're talking about? No, we don't. And if we look around as a nation, and really as a planet, because the Western diet is spreading, we've moved our diet farther and farther away from the original. And instead of eating from the farm, our food passes through a factory first and then onto our forks. The statistics on obesity and disease show the results. Ministry of Healing, page 295 starts, in order to know what are the best foods, we must study God's original plan for man's diet. He who created man and who understands his needs appointed Adam his food. Behold, he said, I have given you every herb yielding seed, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food. Upon leaving Eden to gain his livelihood by tilling the earth under the curse of sin, man received permission to eat also the herb of the field. So the Bible tells us, and Mrs. White confirms, that we were designed to eat plants. And when people eat the way God designed for them to eat, whether they believe in him or not, they find health. Do we believe this? Really, do we believe this? I think we do in theory, but just in case, better take some vitamins. In case we're missing something. And then, sometimes maybe we need to have a few eggs, a little bit of milk. You just don't, B12 thing. And by the way, supplements of B12 are still a good idea, even on a vegan diet. But we believe it, but we like to hedge our bets a little bit, in case we're missing something. My husband was 16, and he was out with the church on a hayride. And they were going, back on somebody's property. He was on the back of the wagon with everybody else, and he was dragging his foot along the ground. Well, he was looking over at Gina Cosini and hoping that she was looking back at him. And there his foot goes dragging along on the ground, and he doesn't see the tree root. And his foot catches under the tree root, and the wheel rolls over it, and he was forever separated from one of his toes. And so he's in the hospital, and the doctor comes to see him. My husband was a fairly new vegetarian at the time, and when the dietitian had come, he kind of held the party line, and there really is enough protein in lentils and rice and such. The doctor came, and he was in his white coat, and he said, "Now, son, you've been injured. You need to recover. Your body needs to repair. And in order to do that, you're going to need protein." And I understand beans, rice, they have protein, but son, you're going to need quality protein. Well, he had on the white coat, and it said MD, and my husband was 16, and he needed to get better, and don't you want quality food? So he said, okay. And, for the next 30 years, he believed that was the way to really get good protein, was animal products, because after all, you needed quality protein. The thing is, the only difference between the protein from plants and the protein from animals is the risk of disease that the protein from animals carries with it. Plants were designed as our perfect food. God designed it. Plants have macronutrients and they have micronutrients. Now, who can tell me what the macronutrients are? No? Okay, your macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Those three. Those are your macronutrients. Why are they called macronutrients? You need a lot of them, exactly. So, let's look at this. All right? All plant foods have the three macronutrients. There are no exceptions. You look at the brown rice, black beans, all the way through, cauliflower, apples, they've all got it. Do you notice that even cauliflower has protein? 2.1 grams. This is all per cup. All right? Do you notice that lettuce, even lettuce, has a little bit of fat? All the foods, all the plant foods have all three macronutrients. But what I want you to notice is the proportions. Look at brown rice. Almost 45 grams of carbs. And pinto beans, 121 grams. All the plant foods on this list have a lot more carbohydrates than any of the other two macronutrients. There are very few exceptions to this rule. So whether you're talking about lentils or carrots or strawberries, they all have more carbohydrates than they have protein. That's because carbohydrates are the preferred fuel of both your body and the brain. When the cells in our body and the cells in our brain want energy, they ask for carbohydrates. God put a lot of carbohydrates in our food because we burn through a lot of carbs every day. That's what your body wants. Do you notice that each of these plant foods has more protein than fat? That's because our body needs protein to grow and repair our cells. Do you have any idea how many cells we have in our body? We have over 37 trillion cells in our body. So we need protein to grow those, to repair those, as well as to synthesize hormones and several other things. But our culture is fixated on protein. Now, maybe we don't hear it so much here at Ouachita because people are pretty educated about health here, but certainly when you go off campus, you hear about protein. The other day I was checking out at Walmart, and I don't remember what started the conversation. Maybe it's because I was buying a lot of, produce. But somehow mentioned something about vegetarianism and protein, and I said, I really don't worry too much about protein. And the lady in line behind me, she pipes up and she said, well, I do. She said, my daughter's a vegetarian, and that's why I'm here. And she pointed at her groceries and what she was buying, and she said, see, my daughter's an athlete, she's a runner, and she just burns through the protein. So, I realized I had about 15 seconds with this woman, and I was not going to change her mind in 15 seconds, so I just bit my tongue. But I'm thinking to myself, honey, if your daughter's burning protein, you've got bigger problems than you know, because protein isn't for burning. Protein is for building. At what point in your life is your body building the most? When you're a baby, right? A baby has 4 to 5 months to double their birth weight. All right? So they've got to build themselves twice as many cells as they already have. So you think they need some protein, right? Okay? So God thought of this. What did he design for babies to eat? Milk, right? Okay. So if babies have to double themselves and they get milk to do it, how much milk do you think, or how much protein do you think is in mother's milk? A lot? Mother's milk is about 5%, gets about 5% of its calories from protein. Just 5%. Do you know what percent of our diet should come from protein? According to the World Health Organization, and they kind of pad the numbers to make sure that they're not leaving anybody out, they say about 5%. Now, if you decided that you were just going to eat white rice, only white rice, but you were going to eat enough of it to meet all of your caloric needs, okay? That's a lot of rice, right? Or let's say you didn't like rice and you wanted a little bit, more nutrition. You're just going to eat enough sweet potatoes to meet all of your caloric needs. Do you think that you could get enough protein? White rice and sweet potatoes both get 7% of their calories from protein. You would get, if you ate just white rice or just sweet potatoes, you would get enough protein. If you wanted to get all of your calories from broccoli, you'd get plenty of protein. If it was black beans, you'd be well covered. If it's white potatoes even, we talk about how white potatoes, you'd still get 8% protein if that's where you got all of your calories from. We don't need more protein than a growing baby does. And no one who's eating whole plant foods is in danger of protein deficiency. In fact, in this country, that just isn't a problem. If we're eating plants the way God designed, though, in case you're worried, if you're eating plants the way God designed, you are getting enough protein to grow. Now, what was the third macronutrient? Fat, that's right. We may be kind of confused about fat, but God's not confused about fat. He hasn't changed his mind on how much of it we need or what kind of it we need. But we as people, these days, we're saying we need healthy fat, right? And then we try to tell God and each other what healthy fats are. We think we need olive oil, we need coconut oil, we need flax oil. Really? Is that what the evidence indicates? You see, we need fat in the form God provided it. Whole foods are naturally low in fat. We don't need very much of it. Do you know what happens if you get a lot of it? Any idea? Disease. How does that work? Do you know? When we eat fat, you know what your liver makes? Makes cholesterol. We have this idea that fat, that we need to make sure that we're eating healthy fats. And that is really more marketing than it is medical science, because medical science has known for quite some time that fat is not doing good things for us. Have you ever heard about the study done by Rudell on African green monkeys? Okay, so took these African green monkeys and they divided them into 3 groups, and they fed them the same diet except for one thing. They fed them each a different source of fat, all right? So one of them got saturated fat. It was palm oil, so similar to coconut oil. And one of them got a polyunsaturated fat, and then one of them got a monounsaturated fat. And what they figured was that they knew that the monkeys eating the saturated fat were going to get atherosclerosis. And what's atherosclerosis? Yeah, the arteries harden. It's because they get filled up with plaque. And so they took the monkeys and they gave them these different diets, and sure enough, at the end of the study, when they checked their arteries, the ones who'd been eating saturated fat had arteries that were all diseased with atherosclerosis. The monkeys who'd been eating the monounsaturated fat, okay, so that's more like your olive oil, they figured, okay, these monkeys are going to be good on the inside because, you know why? They've been testing their blood and their cholesterol numbers looked really good. When they opened them up, their arteries were exactly the same. Both of them had atherosclerosis. There is no such thing as a healthy oil, except as it comes in your whole foods. Is oil a whole food? No. Do you know how many olives it takes to make 1 tablespoon of olive oil? It takes between 20 and 40. Anytime we've stripped out the fiber, we have processed a food. And so it's a concentrated food. The oil passed from the farm through the factory before it got to your fork. And that's why it is not doing you good. God gave us a way to eat fat. He gave us the amount that we need. Fats do have an important function in our diet. We need fat for the sheaths around our nerves, and we need it for the membranes around our cells. We need it for blood clotting. We need it for absorbing certain vitamins and minerals. It does do us good, but too much fat from any source raises our cholesterol, and that damages the lining of our arteries. That's why the overwhelming majority of plant foods were designed with only a little bit of fat, just enough to help us, not enough to hurt us. When we eat fat, the way it hurts us is, we produce cholesterol, but also it hurts the lining of our arteries. Our arteries on the inside have this thin, 1-cell thick layer called the endothelium. And this endothelium is just amazing. It produces a gas called nitric oxide. And this allows our blood to just run through our veins and through our arteries like it's floating on a cushion of air. So it can just stream through. And if you go out and you're running and you're exercising and your cells start screaming for more oxygen, the endothelium are what allow your arteries to dilate, so more blood can get through. But when you eat a high-fat meal, what it does is it damages your endothelium for a short period of time, and it stops producing the gas, and it cannot expand. It takes about 4 to 6 hours for the endothelium to recover after we eat a high-fat meal. So when we had our McDonald's breakfast, our arteries just kind of shut down, and they just start recovering in time for us to go to Taco Bell for lunch. So they get another hit of fat, and after years of this, or the disease starts building up, and the endothelial cells just can't quite recover. As they stop producing gas, they get sticky, so the blood can't flow through as easily. And as the cholesterol comes by, it cuts the endothelium. Now, cholesterol, you can think of a cholesterol molecule. There was this medieval weapon called a flail. It was a short stick, and it had a chain, and then it had this spiky ball on the end. You ever seen that? Cholesterol's like that spiky ball. It actually has sharp little knife-like edges, and so as it goes through, it cuts the endothelium. And it gets stuck in there, and your body says, oh, I know what to do with a cut, because what happens if you get a cut on your skin? Yeah, well, the first thing that happens is your white blood cells come, right? And they start fighting. Well, that happens on the inside. And so the way plaque starts is those white blood cells come for the cut, and it forms just a little pimple on the inside of the artery. Plaque starts as a pimple filled with pus on the inside of your artery. I know, it's kind of icky, right? And you get a whole bunch of those together, and that's what starts forming the plaque. And you would think, well, maybe, that's something that grandparents get. Do you know the average age of a soldier in Vietnam? It was 19. And as these young men were dying, they were doing autopsies, and they were finding plaque building up already in these young men who were 20, 21, 22. When they autopsy teenagers, or even children as young as 3 in this country, after a tragic accident, they'll do an autopsy. They're finding the beginnings of atherosclerosis, fatty streaks in our arteries. We weren't designed to eat fat. God designed the way we're supposed to get our fat. And when we follow his ways, our arteries stay fresh and clean and useful. Carbohydrates, protein, fats, they're all necessary, but we don't have to worry about balancing them if we're eating whole plant foods, because God already did the balancing. If our whole food has passed through a factory before it hits our plate, then we may have a problem. But when our food goes from the farm to the fork, God took care of balancing the diet. Again, ministry of healing. Grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. These foods, prepared in as simple and natural manner as possible, are the most healthful and the most nourishing. Now, the thing is, you may say, the truth is, okay, I believe all this, but I feel hungry. People, when they switch to a vegan diet, when they switch to a plant-based diet, sometimes that's what they complain about. They're like, but I'm hungry. You know what the problem is? It's calorie intake. You have to eat enough calories. And, we designed smartphones, but God designed smart stomachs. Your stomach has 2 kinds of receptors. It has stretch receptors, and it also has receptors that tell when you've had enough calories. And so if you don't eat enough of both of those to fill up the stretch receptors and to give you enough calories, you won't feel satisfied, and you'll keep eating. So here's what you do. When you are looking at, okay, here's my possible choices for lunch. What am I going to eat? If you fill up on salad or vegetables that are high in water content, you're not going to get enough calories. And you may feel full, your stomach may feel full, but you're not going to feel satisfied, and certainly not for long. What you need to do is look at the brown rice, the black beans, the potatoes, sweet potatoes. Those things are high in the carbohydrates, really high in the carbohydrates, more so than the other things. Fill up half your plate with that. Then make sure you get some greens, because we didn't talk about the micronutrients, but they're all there. The vitamins are what the plants synthesize for their own processes, and when we eat the plants, we get the vitamins. And the minerals, we can't eat dirt. Minerals come from dirt, but the plants can, and they've taken them up from the soil, so they are in all of the plant foods, the micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals, and green vegetables and cruciferous vegetables, those are really dense in those micronutrients. And so make sure you have some of those on your plate, and then just fill in the rest with something colorful. And that's how you can balance your meals. God already balanced the nutrition in the food. You just have to choose what to eat and be wise about it so that you get enough calories. People worry a lot about, if you're eating a balanced diet. And if they hear that you're only eating plants, they worry about you. Moms who aren't familiar with plant-based eating will worry, they're not going to get enough nutrition. If you eat the way God designed, there is plenty of nutrition in your fruits, in your vegetables, in your beans, in your whole grains. You will have a balanced diet. You don't have to worry about it. Everybody these days, I look at my students, I look at my life, we all feel stressed. We don't have to worry about our diet. God took care of that for us. He balanced it. And if we just eat the whole foods that He designed, we will get enough nutrition, and we will have the energy to complete the work that He's given us every day and the work that He's given us as a generation. Please pray with me. Gracious Father, You are a loving God. And You know that our life is difficult many times, and You have done so many things to relieve our stress. Thank You for making our food easy. I pray that You will help us to make good choices, that we will eat according to Your plan so that we will have the strength and the energy for the great work that You've given us. We praise Your name. Amen.